AITA for kicking my mom out after she gave my room to her new boyfriend? Hi Reddit, I honestly don't know if I did the right thing. I feel guilty, but also angry, disgusted, and incredibly betrayed. I, 19F, just need some clarity because my entire family is split down the middle, and I'm tired of second-guessing myself. For context, I live with my mom, 41F. It's just been the two of us for a while now. My dad left when I was 10, and my older brother moved out a few years ago. It's been rocky financially, but we've always made it work. I've had a job since I was 16 and have helped pay for groceries and bills. Until recently, I lived in the larger of the two bedrooms because I was the one mostly contributing financially and I needed the space for school and work. My mom was fine with that, until she started dating Mike. Mike, 43M, came into the picture about 4 months ago. From day one, I got a bad vibe. He was constantly at our place, didn't have a job, he says he's between opportunities, and has a serious history with drugs. He's supposedly clean, but I've seen enough to doubt that. He disappears for hours, comes back acting weird, and once I found a burnt spoon in the bathroom sink. I confronted my mom, and she brushed it off, saying I was overreacting and judging someone who's trying to change. Here's where things start to go off the rails. 2 weeks ago, I came home from work to find all of my stuff moved into the smaller room, without warning. My bed, desk, dresser. Everything crammed into the tiny space I used to use for storage. My mom was waiting for me like it was no big deal. She said, "Mike's moving in and he needs more space for his stuff. He's a grown man, you'll be fine in the smaller room." I was stunned. I asked why she didn't at least talk to me first, and she got defensive, saying this is my house, and I can do what I want with it. Let me remind you, I pay part of the rent and utilities. I buy most of the groceries. I've even covered my mom's car insurance a few times. I tried to be calm. I told her I didn't feel safe with Mike in the house, and I especially didn't want him taking over my room. She said I was being selfish and jealous, that she finally had someone. Then it got worse. A few nights later, I was watching TV in the living room when Mike came in, clearly high on something, and sat way too close to me. He started saying creepy things like, "You're really growing into a woman. If I wasn't with your mom, you know you'd be mine. Hell, maybe I don't even need permission." I froze. I didn't know what to say. I got up, locked myself in my room and cried. The next morning, I told my mom everything. Her response? "Mike would never say that. You probably misunderstood him. He's been under stress." I was done. I told her I didn't feel safe, that she could stay, but he had to go. I made it clear, Mike leaves, or I report him for what he said and for what I suspect he's doing. I even showed her the spoon. She told me, if he goes, I go. I'm not abandoning someone who's trying to get his life together. So I said, then you both need to leave, today. She acted shocked, like I had just slapped her. But I meant it. I helped her pack and told her I would change the locks by the end of the day. She left in tears, calling me ungrateful and heartless. That was last week. Since then, my phone has blown up with messages from my aunt, a cousin, and even my older brother, all saying I went too far, that she's still my mother, and you don't throw your parent out over a boyfriend. My brother says I should have sucked it up until I could move out. But I don't think I was wrong to protect myself. I've changed the locks. I've blocked Mike on everything. My mom is staying with my aunt for now, but she won't speak to me unless I apologize to both of them. Reddit, I don't feel safe apologizing. I don't feel safe with him around at all. I'm finally starting to sleep through the night again. But still, AITA for kicking my own mother out of the house because she chose a creepy, possibly dangerous man over me? Update. AITA for kicking my mom out after she gave my room to her new boyfriend, who hit on me? Hi again, Reddit. I didn't expect so many people to read my original post. I wasn't sure if I was going to come back, but a lot has happened and I guess I needed somewhere to process it. If you didn't read the original post, the short version, I, 19F, kicked my mom out after she let her creepy, unemployed, probably using boyfriend move into my bedroom, started treating me like a guest in my own home, and ignored me when I told her he made disturbing, predatory comments toward me. She told me if he had to go, then she would too. So I packed their things and changed the locks. Anyway, that was about 2 months ago. I was doing better. It was quiet, peaceful. I finally had my own space back. I cleaned the whole apartment, replaced the bedding, burned sage, donated anything I associated with them. I started sleeping through the night again. I even had friends over for the first time in years. I wasn't happy exactly, but I was healing. Then 2 weeks ago, she showed up. I got home from work and saw her sitting on the front steps. She looked small, tired. She wasn't dressed like herself, just wearing a wrinkled hoodie and holding a grocery bag with what I assume was all her stuff. She started crying the second I walked up. She told me Mike had turned on her, that he'd gotten physical during an argument, and left her at a gas station 2 towns over, that she went to my aunt's again, but the couch was full, that she didn't know where else to go. I asked if she was still with him. She hesitated. She said, "It's complicated." I told her I wasn't ready to let her back in. That's when she snapped. She said things like, "You're really going to let your own mother sleep outside? I gave you everything and this is how you repay me? You're just bitter because he picked me over you." Yes, she actually said that. Like it was jealousy. Like I was competing with her for a man who literally threatened to have me if he wanted. I told her she could go to a shelter, or I'd call my aunt to come get her, but she wasn't staying here. Not until she was done with him, completely, and ready to actually make amends for everything. She screamed that I was heartless and not even human anymore. Then she threw the grocery bag at my door and left. I debated not looking inside, but curiosity got the better of me. It had a photo album of us, when I was little, pre-Mike. My baby blanket, I hadn't seen it in years. A handwritten note that said, "I never wanted to hurt you." That messed me up. I cried for hours. Not because I felt guilty, but because I missed her. The version of her that used to sing to me when I was sick, or braid my hair before school, or tell me stories about when she was my age. But that version doesn't exist anymore. Not right now. And I have to protect myself. She hasn't come back. My aunt confirmed she's staying with a friend of Mike's, of course. She also said she still doesn't believe what I told her about the things Mike said to me. I don't think she wants to believe it, because if she does, she'd have to admit she chose him anyway. I'm in therapy now. I'm working on not internalizing her choices. I've started the process of getting off the lease and moving into a studio apartment that's all mine. It'll be tight, but I'll make it work. I always do. If you're reading this and you've ever had a parent choose a toxic partner over your safety, I see you. It's a pain that cuts deep and quietly, like grief without a funeral. You don't owe people access to you just because they gave birth to you. You can love someone and still protect yourself from them. You can say, "I hope you get help," while locking your door. You can forgive someone someday, and still choose not to let them come back. Thanks for listening. Final update. My mom and her boyfriend, the one who made sexual comments to me, showed up again. This time I was ready. Hi Reddit. This is the post I hoped I'd never have to write. If you haven't seen my previous updates, I-19F kicked my mom out of our apartment after she gave my room to her new boyfriend, Mike, a man I never trusted, who was likely using again, and who once made disgusting, sexual comments toward me while high. My mom chose him over me. I gave her the option to stay without him. She refused. So I kicked them both out. Months passed. She came back once asking to stay, claimed she left him, then admitted it was complicated. I said no. I held my boundary. I was finally starting to feel safe again. Until this past weekend. I noticed a beat-up blue sedan parked across the street from my building. It was idling. Lights off. This was around 9:30 p.m., not super late, but late enough to be suspicious. I peeked out the window a few times and eventually recognized the figure in the passenger seat. Mike. I froze. I felt like I was 10 years old hiding under my bed again. I called a friend, I'll call her Tasha, who lives nearby. I told her I thought my mom and Mike might be outside. She offered to come over right away and stay on the phone until she got there. I also texted my landlord, who lives in the front unit, just to give her a heads up. Then came the knock. It was my mom. She sounded off, slurring slightly. Not angry, just messy. She kept saying, "Baby, please just let us come in. We just need to talk. We just need a place to crash." I didn't answer the door. I told her through the door she wasn't welcome here, that I already gave her a chance, that he would never set foot in this home. That's when Mike spoke up, loud enough for me to hear through the door. "This is your fault. She has no one now. You think you're better than your own mother? You little tease." Then he kicked the door. Twice. I was shaking, but I hit record on my phone and kept it rolling. I stayed quiet inside while on the line with dispatch. Gave them everything, names, past reports, the protective order I had started to file months ago, but never finalized, my biggest regret. Tasha showed up just as the police did. Mike tried to walk away like nothing happened. The officer stopped him. My mom started crying immediately, telling the cops she was just here to see her daughter. I showed the video. The audio was clear. The cops separated them. Mike had paraphernalia on him. Needle caps, a small pipe, and what looked like a baggie of something. They arrested him. Again. My mom didn't go with him this time. But she did try to say, he didn't mean it. He's just sick. He needs help. I finally looked her in the eye and said, "And you still chose him over me? Over your own daughter?" She didn't argue. She just looked at me like I was a stranger and got into the back of a police cruiser to give a statement. I haven't heard from her since, and honestly, I'm not hoping I do. I changed my locks again. Filed for a no-contact order this time, both against Mike and my mother. My landlord has been supportive and is working with me to get a security camera installed near my door. It still feels unreal. I want to cry. I want to scream. I want to hug the version of myself that kept begging this woman to love her enough to listen. But that version of her no longer exists. Maybe she never did. If you've been following this story, thank you. Genuinely. The people who commented, messaged, shared resources. You helped me feel sane when my own reality was being gaslit out of existence. To anyone else in this situation, you are allowed to say no, even if they raised you. You are allowed to shut the door. You are allowed to call the cops. You are allowed to save yourself. I don't feel strong, but I feel free. And sometimes that's enough. 5 years ago, I kicked my mother out after she chose her boyfriend over me. I thought I'd feel broken forever. I don't. Hi Reddit. It's been 5 years since everything happened. Since I changed the locks, called the cops, and shut the door on my own mother. 5 years ago, I was 19, living paycheck to paycheck. Coming home every night scared, not of strangers, but of the people who were supposed to love me. My mom had moved her new boyfriend into our home, gave him my room, watched him harass me, defended him when he made disgusting, predatory comments about me. And when I gave her the choice, me or him, she chose him. And I chose me. That decision cost me a family, but it gave me back my life. I didn't know that the guilt would fade, that the silence would start to feel like safety, that I wouldn't spend every day waiting for the other shoe to drop. Back then, I thought trauma was something you had to carry like a punishment. A reminder that you let this happen, or you're too damaged to ever feel normal. I didn't realize that trauma could be processed, that it could be lived through, not just lived with. I thought I'd always feel hollow. I don't. No big inspirational montage. No therapist who solved everything in 2 sessions. No surprise reconciliation with my mother. Spoiler. We haven't spoken in over 4 years. More on that later. But I did rebuild. I worked 2 jobs and moved into my own place, a studio apartment that smelled like mildew and freedom. I finished community college. I met friends who didn't need me to shrink myself. I started dating someone who never once made me feel unsafe in my own home. We live together now. I go to therapy. I journal. I breathe. My life is small but safe. It's quiet. Sometimes it's lonely, but I never confuse loneliness with danger anymore. That's progress. I get asked this sometimes when people hear my story. The short answer, I don't know for sure. The last I heard, she was staying with one of Mike's relatives. I've heard rumors that he's in prison again. I've seen her name pop up in court records, petty charges mostly. She hasn't reached out since I filed the no-contact order. And if she ever did, I don't think I'd answer. That sounds cruel, maybe. But I've come to understand something no one teaches you as a child. You can forgive someone without inviting them back into your life. I hope she's clean. I hope she's safe. I hope she's okay. But I also hope she stays gone. Because every time I think about what she allowed, what she excused, the little girl inside me remembers being told she was jealous, that she was lying, that she must have misunderstood the man who wanted to own her. That's not something I'm willing to gamble on again. People ask me that a lot, quietly, as if they already feel like monsters for even thinking it. The answer is yes. 1,000 times yes. Was it painful? Yes. Was I scared? Yes. Was I lonely, isolated, and treated like the villain by half my extended family? Absolutely. But was it worth it to finally choose myself over someone who refused to protect me? Always. You can grieve someone and still protect yourself from them. Just because someone gave you life doesn't mean they get to control yours. There is no award for staying loyal to people who hurt you. Family is not a shield for abuse. And love without safety is not love at all. If you're reading this and your gut is screaming that something's wrong, listen to it. If you feel guilty for setting a boundary, keep it anyway. If people say you're cold, dramatic, cruel, ungrateful, ignore them. They weren't there. You were. And you are allowed to build a life where you no longer flinch at the front door. I did. And it's the most peaceful thing I've ever known.